I know this man. He came into my office before. He was a drifter. Very strange. His name is Gary Michael Hilton.
And that call became the biggest lead that solved the disappearance of Meredith Emerson.
January 1st, 2008, a New Year's Day. The moment when the world believes this is the time to begin again, to hope for something better. Meredith Emerson, 24 years old. Intelligent, independent, and a green belt Aikido practitioner. She decided to drive to Blood Mountain to seek peace amid the rugged wilderness of Georgia. For Meredith, it was just a short hike, a simple walk with her beloved dog. She brought no camping gear, no flashlight, because no one enters the forest on a beautiful day thinking they will never return. But as the sun sank behind the forest canopy, Meredith's car still sat motionless in the parking lot. The young woman, skilled in self-defense, had vanished completely, without a single trace. But among dozens of hikers on the mountain that day, Meredith seemed to have simply evaporated into thin air. Police believed she was lost. Her family feared she was injured. But every one of those theories collapsed 3 days later, when Meredith's dog was found wandering in a parking lot more than 60 miles away from Blood Mountain. How could a dog walk nearly 100 kilometers in 3 days? It couldn't, unless someone had taken it there. And the most terrifying question began to loom over the investigation. If someone released the dog, then what were they doing with Meredith? This is the case file of Blood Mountain, where a search for freedom became a fight for survival against an unseen shadow deep within the forest. If you value stories that are told with honesty, please like and subscribe to continue walking with us. Before darkness closed in on this story, we need to understand who the light was. Meredith Hope Emerson, born in 1984, a young woman her friends described as full of life. She graduated with honors from the prestigious University of Georgia. But Meredith was never someone who lived only in books. She loved freedom. She loved to travel. And above all, she had a companion she was never without, Ella, a mixed-breed black lab who stayed close to her on every journey. Meredith was not fragile. She had trained in martial arts for years, Aikido, green belt. She knew how to defend herself. She knew how to observe. And it was precisely this strength that made her disappearance more illogical than ever. How could someone with skills, physical ability, and a protective dog simply vanish in a place so familiar? The location Meredith chose for New Year's Day was Blood Mountain, the highest peak on this stretch of the Appalachian Trail, located in the state of Georgia. The name Blood Mountain comes from a violent legend of the Cherokee people. But on January 1st, 2008, there was nothing frightening about it. The weather was unusually warm for winter. Clear skies, golden sunlight filtering through bare tree branches. It was a perfect day for a hike. Around 10 a.m., Meredith drove her silver Chevrolet Cavalier to the Byron Herbert Reese parking lot. She parked carefully. Inside the car, she left her wallet. She left unnecessary items behind. She carried only a bottle of water, a dog leash, and her car keys. That choice says a great deal. It shows Meredith had no intention of going far. She planned only to hike to the summit, take in the New Year's view, and return before nightfall. On the trail that day, Meredith was not alone. There were many other hiking groups. Witnesses later recalled they had seen her, a young and attractive woman smiling brightly, walking with an energetic black dog. She greeted people. She stopped so Ella could play with other dogs. Everything unfolded normally, almost too normally. But, mixed into the flow of hikers that day, there was another presence. Several witnesses began to notice a man, an older man, disheveled in appearance. He was also walking a dog, a red hunting dog, a red setter. He didn't resemble the other hikers. He didn't seem to be in a hurry. He lingered, approached women hiking alone, asked casual, wandering questions. No one thought much of him at the time. The forest belongs to everyone, doesn't it? Maybe he was just an eccentric old man who loved nature. The last confirmed sighting of Meredith was in the early afternoon. Witnesses saw her standing and talking with the older man. They appeared to be discussing their dogs. No screaming, no struggle. Meredith continued deeper along the trail. The man followed in the same direction, and after that moment, no one ever saw Meredith Emerson again. The Byron Herbert Reese Trail remained bathed in bright afternoon sunlight. But Meredith had stepped into a darkness where sunlight could no longer reach. The sun began to sink behind the Blue Ridge Mountains. Temperatures on the mountain dropped rapidly. The January cold started creeping through every crack in the rocks. At the Byron Herbert Reese parking lot, the hikers' cars began to leave, one by one, until only a single vehicle remained, a Meredith's silver Chevrolet Cavalier. It sat there, alone, silent, like a mute witness to something that had gone wrong. Back home, Meredith's friends began to feel uneasy. Meredith was extremely punctual. She never turned off her phone without telling someone. They called her once, twice, 10 times. Each call met only the flat, impersonal voice of voicemail. By midnight, concern turned into fear. Meredith hadn't come home. And worse, Ella hadn't come home either. Someone with Meredith's survival skills would never choose to stay in the woods overnight, especially without cold weather gear. Something had stopped her from returning to her car. Early on the morning of January 2nd, the Union County Sheriff's Office received the report. Deputies responded immediately to the parking lot. The first thing they saw was the car. Intact. No forced entry. No broken windows. Inside the vehicle, investigators found a critical detail. Meredith's wallet, a spare set of keys, a warm jacket, all neatly tucked away beneath the seat. That detail immediately ruled out the idea of her running away. Meredith hadn't left. She had planned to come back. She was only going for a short hike, but that short while became forever. Immediately, a massive search and rescue operation was launched. This became one of the largest searches in the history of the state of Georgia. Hundreds of people took part. Police, park rangers, rescue teams, and Meredith's friends and family. They formed long horizontal lines stretching for miles. They combed through every thicket, every rock crevice, every stream bed. Above them, police helicopters circled continuously, using thermal imaging cameras, FLIR, to search for any sign of human heat or the heat signature of a dog. But the forests of Blood Mountain, like a massive beast, seemed to swallow every trace. The terrain here was brutally unforgiving. Sheer cliffs, dense woodland, a thick layer of dry leaves on the ground, masking any possible footprints. At this stage, theories began to surface, and most of them pointed to an accident. And had she slipped and fallen down a ravine? Had she gotten lost and injured somewhere? Or worse, had she been attacked by a black bear? But experienced search teams shook their heads. If it were a fall, there should have been slide marks. If it were an animal attack, there should have been signs of a struggle, torn clothing. If she were lost, tracking dogs should have picked up her scent, or Ella's, but there was nothing. Canine units circled the parking lot, then lost the trail right at the path entrance, as if Meredith had vanished into thin air. When the search hit a dead end, police shifted their focus to witnesses. They interviewed everyone who had been on the mountain on January 1st. And a pattern began to emerge. Multiple people mentioned the same man. The strange old man. Around 60 years old. Graying hair. Gaunt face. Always accompanied by a red-colored dog. One witness later said, visibly shaken. He stared at me. There was something off about his eyes. They didn't look like the eyes of a normal hiker. Another witness confirmed. I saw Meredith talking to him. They seemed relaxed, but then they both disappeared deeper into the woods. Police were left with a critical question. Who was this man? A key witness, or the key to Meredith's disappearance? But searching for an unknown old man inside a vast national forest proved almost as difficult as searching for Meredith herself. Day 2 passed, then day 3. Hope of finding Meredith alive, in the freezing mountain cold, began to fade. Her family started preparing for the worst. They believed she may have died from exposure or from an accident. But they were wrong. The truth was far more terrifying than the cold. Because on the 4th day, a phone call from DeKalb County, over 60 miles away, changed the entire direction of the case. Meredith hadn't gotten lost in the woods. She had been hunted January 4th, 2008, 3 days after Meredith vanished. The forests of Blood Mountain finally began to reveal their first secrets. But they were secrets no one wanted to hear. Search teams discovered personal items scattered near the trail. A water bottle, a dog leash, and most importantly, a collapsible police baton. But investigators from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, GBI, immediately secured the scene. They knew Meredith had not carried a baton. She was a peaceful person, and she held a green belt in martial arts. She relied on her hands, not weapons. That baton belonged to a third party. It lay there, cold, the clearest evidence of a struggle. Meredith had not simply gotten lost. She had been attacked. She had fought back. At the same time, inside the forensic laboratory, experts began examining every millimeter of the evidence, searching for fingerprints, searching for DNA, searching for anything that could identify the owner of that baton. As hope was slowly fading on the mountain, something miraculous, yet deeply unsettling, happened 60 miles away. In the parking lot of a Kroger supermarket in Cumming, Georgia, residents noticed a black dog wandering alone. Exhausted, confused, but unharmed. It was Ella. The news hit the Emerson family like an electric shock. Meredith's parents broke down. They recognized Ella instantly. The dog their daughter loved more than anything. But that brief relief was quickly replaced by a horrifying realization. Investigators studied the mappo. The distance from Blood Mountain to where Ella was found was nearly 100 kilometers. No dog could walk that far in 3 days, through forest terrain, across highways, and emerge completely unharmed. The police conclusion was cold and unequivocal. Ella had been transported. The kidnapper had a vehicle. He had driven Meredith and her dog away from the mountain. And the most painful question pierced her parents' hearts. Why did he release the dog? Did he let Ella go, so Meredith would be left completely alone? Finding Ella alive revealed a deeply distorted psychology in the perpetrator. He showed compassion toward animals, but none toward human beings. The investigation shifted into a digital phase. The FBI and GBI began reviewing Meredith's bank accounts. And then, bingo, they found a trail. Meredith's ATM card had been used, not once, but multiple times, at ATMs scattered across North Georgia. Investigators pulled security camera footage, CCTV. Grainy black and white images filled the screen. A male figure, hood pulled tight, face deliberately concealed, attempting to withdraw money from Meredith's account. But there was a strange detail. He couldn't get the money. The PIN was wrong. Criminal behavior analysts were stunned. Under abduction, under direct threat to her life. Meredith Emerson was still thinking with terrifying clarity. She didn't panic and give the correct code immediately. She deliberately gave the wrong PIN, or numbers that were almost right. She was playing a deadly game of cat and mouse. This action had two meanings. First, it confirmed she was still alive at that moment. Second, she was buying time. She understood that once he got the money, her value would be gone. When Meredith's family saw these reports, they felt pride and pain at the same time. Their daughter was fighting alone. She was doing everything she could to survive. She was waiting for rescue. But the rescue teams were still one step behind the man hunting her. By combining images from the ATM cameras with witness statements from the mountain, police were able to build a suspect profile. A white male, around 60 years old, driving an older white Chevrolet Astro van, and always accompanied by a dog. A nationwide BOLO was issued. Images of the white van flooded newspapers and TV screens. Police hotlines rang non-stop. And then, a critical call came in. A man named John Tabor contacted police. His voice was shaking as he said, "I know this guy. He's been to my office before. He's a strange drifter. His name is Gary Michael Hilton." The moment that name was spoken, the curtain began to lift. The enemy had a face. But was it already too late to save Meredith? While police were hunting Gary Michael Hilton across the state, another chance discovery occurred. One that shattered nearly all remaining hope for the Emerson family. At a parking lot in the city of Cumming, residents found suspicious trash bags that had been dumped. Inside were Meredith's wallet, her identification, and her clothing. But what made forensic investigators go cold was the condition of those clothes. They were soaked in blood. At the GBI forensic lab, bloodstain pattern analysts reached a grim conclusion. The volume and distribution of blood indicated severe injury, possibly a fatal wound. Thus, when this information was delivered to Meredith's parents, imagine the pain they felt. They had been clinging to the belief that their daughter was being held for ransom, that she was still alive somewhere, waiting for them. But the blood-soaked clothing in those trash bags was like a death sentence delivered in advance. Police now understood. They were no longer searching for a kidnapping victim. They were searching for a murder scene, January 4th, 2008, 5 p.m. 5 hours after the statewide alert for Gary Michael Hilton was issued, citizen tips began flooding in. People reported seeing a suspicious white van at a Chevron gas station in DeKalb County. Police rushed to the scene, and what they found proved just how cold-blooded this killer was. Hilton wasn't running. He was calmly cleaning his vehicle, pulling the interior out piece by piece, using bleach and a high-pressure hose to scrub the van's floor. He was destroying DNA evidence. What if police had arrived just 1 hour later? Every trace of Meredith inside that vehicle might have been gone forever. When he was handcuffed, Hilton showed no fear, no remorse. He stared at the officers with empty eyes and said nothing. Gary Michael Hilton was taken into custody. Inside the interrogation room, the most experienced investigators took turns confronting him, but Hilton was not a foolish criminal. He was seasoned. He understood the law. and he knew exactly what leverage he still held. He knew police had not found Meredith's body. Without a body, a first-degree murder charge would be difficult to secure. And more importantly, he knew what the victim's family wanted most. They didn't need his conviction. Not yet. They needed their daughter back. Alive or dead, that for hours, Hilton remained silent. He sat there, cold, detached. While outside that interrogation room, Meredith's parents were crying until there were no tears left. This was the most painful part, legally and morally, of the entire case. The district attorney faced an impossible choice. They had enough circumstantial evidence, blood, ATM usage, witnesses, to prosecute Hilton. They could pursue the death penalty, but if they did, Hilton would take the secret of Meredith's burial site to the grave. Her body could remain forever somewhere deep in the cold forest. Never found, never brought home. The Emerson family was forced to make the hardest decision of their lives. A decision no parent should ever have to face. They begged the prosecutor, spare his life. In return, make him give our daughter back to us. A legal agreement, a plea bargain, was drafted in haste. The state of Georgia agreed to withdraw the death penalty. In exchange, Gary Michael Hilton had to plead guilty and personally lead police to the place where he hid Meredith's body. The deal was signed. Justice, in some sense, stepped back in the face of a family's love. They accepted that the killer would live in prison, just to be able to hold their daughter one last time. January 7th, 2008. Hilton was escorted out of jail. He led police back into Dawson National Forest. The convoy moved slowly under his directions. He remembered every turn, every landmark, every tree. He stopped in a dense, isolated area and pointed there, beneath layers of dry leaves, far from the trail people usually walk. Police found Meredith Emerson, but the crime scene was more horrific than anything they had imagined. It revealed the full extent of this man's brutality, and when investigators saw her body, they finally understood just how terrifying Meredith's final 3 days had truly been. Based on the cold confession of Gary Hilton, we finally know what happened that fateful afternoon. When Meredith turned back onto the trail to descend the mountain, Hilton was already waiting. He approached her from behind. He threatened her with a military-style knife. He ordered her to lie down. But Meredith Emerson, the young woman with a green belt in Aikido, did not surrender. According to Hilton's statement, she fought like a tiger. Meredith used her self-defense training to knock the knife out of his hand. She grabbed the blade with her bare hands. She accepted the pain to buy herself a chance to live. Hilton admitted he was caught off guard. He never expected such fierce resistance from a woman of her size. When he realized he was close to losing the struggle, Hilton pulled out a second weapon, the police baton. He struck her repeatedly on the head and on her arms. Only when Meredith was exhausted and badly injured was he finally able to restrain her. But Meredith's fight did not end there. When she realized she could not win through physical strength, she shifted to using her mind. Over the next 3 days, Hilton forced her to hike through the forest to reach the place where he had hidden his van. And throughout those 3 days, Meredith carried out an exceptionally intelligent psychological strategy. She tried to humanize herself in the eyes of her captor. She did not cry or beg. She spoke calmly with him. She asked about his life, asked about his dog. She talked about her own life. She did this so Hilton would see her as a human being, not as an object. She hoped that if he developed emotion or pity, he might spare her life. And in reality, this strategy worked, at least in part. Hilton later admitted, she was very smart, We talked a lot. There were moments when I thought about letting her go. But his greed ultimately defeated what little conscience he still had left. Hilton's primary motive for the kidnapping was money. He wanted her ATM PIN. Meredith understood this clearly. She knew the pattern of abductions. When the kidnapper gets what he wants, money, the hostage becomes worthless, and the hostage is eliminated. So Meredith played a life-or-death hand. She gave him a PIN. But it was the wrong one. What each time Hilton left her tied up in the forest to drive off and try to withdraw cash, she lay there, hoping the bank would flag something wrong. She was buying time, hour by hour, minute by minute. When Hilton returned, furious that the withdrawal failed, Meredith calmly gave him another number. She lied, saying she was panicking and had remembered it incorrectly. For 3 days, she kept him spinning in circles. And because of this brave decision, police were able to capture his image on security cameras. By the 4th day, Hilton began to feel the net tightening. News of the disappearance was everywhere on the radio. He knew he wasn't going to get the money, so he decided to end it. He took Meredith deep into Dawson National Forest. He tied her to an oak tree. According to Hilton's confession, even in the face of death, Meredith never showed fear. Her final words to him were not pleas for herself, but for her dog. "Please don't hurt Ella. Let her go." And perhaps out of some twisted sense of respect for her courage, Hilton did exactly that. He released Ella. But for Meredith, he showed no mercy. He attacked her from behind with a car jack handle. Meredith died there, on the spot. But what happened next is why Gary Hilton came to be called the Monster. He knew that police could identify a victim through dental records. So, to conceal his crime, he committed his most barbaric act. He decapitated the victim. He buried her body beneath layers of dry leaves and tried to dispose of the remaining part in another location. He believed he had planned everything carefully. He believed the deep forest would hide his crime forever. But he was wrong. It was Meredith's resilience, her ability to delay him, that allowed police to catch up before he could escape to another state. She fell, but she won the race to bring her killer into the light. The death of Meredith Emerson opened a Pandora's box filled with other crimes. After Gary Michael Hilton was captured, police began connecting the data points. And they realized Meredith was not his only victim. Just months earlier, in October 2007, an elderly couple, John and Irene Bryant, had disappeared while hiking in Pisgah National Forest, North Carolina. Irene's body was later found, shallowly buried. John was shot to death. And their ATM card was also used by a man with his face concealed. In December 2007, in Florida, Nurse Cheryl Dunlap was abducted and brutally murdered in Apalachicola National Forest. The method was identical: abduction, forcing the victim to give an ATM PIN, and decapitation. All of it led back to one man, Gary Michael Hilton. Yet he became known as the National Forest Serial Killer, a predator who targeted people who loved nature. People who entered the forest seeking peace and instead encountered evil. Because of the agreement made with the Emerson family to recover Meredith's body, in the state of Georgia, Gary Hilton avoided the death penalty. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Many people were outraged by this verdict. They believed he deserved to die, but justice has its own way of operating. Although he escaped execution in Georgia, Hilton was later extradited to Florida to stand trial for the murder of Cheryl Dunlap. There was no plea deal. The Florida court sentenced Gary Michael Hilton to death. Today, he remains on death row, waiting for the day he will finally pay for his crimes. But this story should not end with the name of the killer. It should end with the name of the hero, Meredith Emerson. If Meredith had not fought so fiercely, if she had not been clever enough to deceive him about the pin, if she had not bought herself 3 extra days, then perhaps Hilton would have escaped. He would have disappeared into another forest, and more innocent lives would have been lost. It was Meredith's courage that brought an end to the reign of terror of the so-called National Forest serial killer. After this case, the state of Georgia passed new legislation. Individuals with prior violent convictions were prohibited from loitering in national forest areas. Security camera systems at trailheads were also strengthened. Her life was taken, but her actions saved others. And that is how her story should be remembered. The Blood Mountain case leaves us with hard-earned lessons about safety while trekking. First, trust your instincts. If you encounter someone in the forest who gives you that chilling feeling, do not hesitate to turn back. Do not try to be polite. Your safety matters more than courtesy. Second, never underestimate appearances. Gary Hilton looked like a harmless, eccentric old man walking with a dog. That very disguise is what allowed him to get close to his victims. Third, weapons and skills. Meredith knew martial arts. She fought bravely. She did everything right. But against a predator with weapons and preparation, we must be better equipped. Pepper spray, a personal GPS locator that does not rely on cell phone signal. Meredith Emerson was taken from this world at just 24 years old. Pity but her spirit, that unbreakable fighting flame, will be remembered forever. She reminds us that, even in the most desperate circumstances, when death is very close, human beings can still choose to face it with courage and dignity. If Meredith's story made you pause and reflect, share your thoughts in the comments below. Your interaction does more than help this video reach others. It also helps ensure that stories like this are not forgotten. If you found this content meaningful, please press like to support the channel. And if you want to continue following honest analysis that respects victims and goes deep into the truth, subscribe and turn on notifications. Thank you for staying with us through today's case file. Stay vigilant on every journey, because we never truly know who may be watching from the darkness. Goodbye for now, and see you again in the next case.